Welcome to another vlog. So for this one, I thought we would go how to do a vet gate, or how at least I do a vet gate, so that we can run through for any first timers so you know exactly what's coming up. As ever, my first piece of advice is to make sure everything is set up before you go out on course. But next up, you may need to make sure that you're picking up your time card from the timekeeper. This will have your time in, so you know how long you have to vet. So for EGB, you've got 20 minutes from where you cross the line with the timekeeper to when you present to vet. But really, because your time is running, you want to present to the vet as quickly as possible because that eats into your average ride speed. The first thing I do is whip Estrid's tack off, so to make sure she's as comfortable as possible, because that needs to be all off before we can do anything else. And then the most important thing is to offer her a drink before we do anything else. Then we can start cooling her down. I like to wash the sweat, the grit off, make sure she's as fairly clean, but it also acts as a kind of a bit of a check over, make sure she's not got any cuts on her legs and her muscles are feeling fine. Estrid isn't the biggest fan of water, but she is getting better, so it's entirely up to you whether you sponge down your horse to check over. I like to use the sponge to check over because I get a little bit of a feel and it gets the grit off, and then I just start pouring to cool. Next up, we always check the horse's hooves. Now, I've got pads in the front, so technically no stones could go there, but it's always good to check that there's like no sharp things that have gone in, that the pad's still in place, that the shoe isn't wonky, and for any feet that haven't got pads in, to check if there's stones or anything. The last thing you want is to have a lameness because there's a stone somewhere that you didn't see. Once I've done what I deem the essentials, which is tack off, Estrid have a drink, wash her down and check her over, and do her hooves, it's now time to check the heart rate. Now, if I knew Estrid a bit better and we'd done lots of vet gates, maybe I could go now, but I don't know Estrid very well yet, and if it's your first vet gate, you kind of want to make it as relaxing as possible, and you don't want to be spun at the first. You don't want to be taking massive risks until you're kind of a little bit more experienced. So I always then walk the horse around and then retake the heart rate after they've walked, because a lot of the time it can shoot up. Now Estrid's, my heart rate monitor was playing up a little bit here, but Estrid's didn't shoot up. It was more or less exactly the same. And what I'm looking for is the heart rate to be dropping. Now a stethoscope is much better for this. You can really hear what the heart rate is doing. But as long as it's dropping and it's below 64, then it's time to go and vet. Now make sure you take your time card with you, because they will record when you present to the vet. And that will tell you how quick your presentation time was. Now, some of the top riders will get a presentation time under a minute, and watching them go through a vet gate is spectacular. But anything up to kind of 10 minutes is pretty normal for your first vet gate. So as long as you're in a nice routine and your horse is happy, don't worry too much, but make sure that you don't go over that 20-minute mark. Now, if you're super lucky like me and you've got crew helping, then while you're at the vetting, now could be the time to change all your tack. So for me, I change my girth every loop. I change my numbness every loop. I have sheepskin numbness, so you can see how clean the numbner in the bucket is, but actually I just changed it because we can. I also change my boots and anything that's on Estrid. My mum will also like wash down the tack to make sure there's no grit or grime, and that all the stitching is fine and all the clips are fine. I can't believe how good Estrid was through that vet gate. We've just poured water on her and everything, and there were no horses around. So as soon as I come out the vet, obviously we give Estrid her smorgasbord of hydration stuff, put a rug on her, make sure she's okay first. If you're lucky enough to have crew, then you can hand the pony over to your crew. If you don't have crew, tie them up where they can eat and drink at the same time. Then mum, while I'm in the vetting, will do all the soft changeovers. And then as soon as Estrid is done and we're ready to go for the next loop, it's time for hydration and for the rider to go pee. If you're not desperate for a wee by now, then you've not drunk enough on the next loop, on the last loop. So the other thing to do is you get this yellow card. So you pick this yellow card up at the timekeeper. Then you present it to the vet when you go in, so it tells you how quick your presentation was. I think that was our best presentation ever, actually. Then it will tell you your time out. So I want to set a timer. I will ask one of these guys to set a timer. So 10 minutes before I'm meant to go out, we're going to tack up. Normally I'd learn hand walk the horse before I need to get on. Are you okay there? Which makes a great sign. But because the out is so far away from the vetting, I'm actually going to tack up at 10 minutes and just get on and head straight up. So now I'm going to go wee, and then it will be rider food and hydration. I didn't think anyone would want to witness me weeing on camera, so here is Estrid peeing on camera, and Dan giving her a walk around and making sure she's nice and toasty.
Did I just see Estrid doing a right big pee-pee?
I said pee-pee.
Most excellent.
Endurance riders are obsessed with peeing.
Now Dan is entirely correct, and we're obsessed with peeing because it means we can check if the horse is hydrated by seeing the colour of the wee. If they're weeing, normally that means they're hydrated because they need to get rid of it. We like to give a variety of things for Estrid to have in a vet gate. So she has haylage, she has pony nuts, she has an endurance mix, electrolyte water, sugar beet water, plain water. She can walk around, she can eat grass, she can basically do whatever she wants as long as she's happy. For me in the vet gate, I tend to have a banana, a Y food because it's a complete drink, like I know it's got everything in it, it's going to keep me nice and full. I eat Jaffa cakes out on course, but also in the vet gate I might have an Actimel if my tummy feels a bit funny, or I might have Flapjack if I'm feeling like I need a particular energy boost. It's all about having things that are going to be easy for you to eat if you're nervous and are going to give you the nutritional stuff that you need. So, always, if you've got a multi-loop ride, no matter how many times I sit down and write it down like in the weeks before, I'm not going to remember on the day. By the time I've done one loop, I've forgotten the next loop. So I always sit down, have a little look at the map, make sure I at least know where I'm going at the start of when I get on. And then I've got only my really bad memory to blame and not remembering it and going the wrong way. Once I've checked the course and I know what I'm doing on my next loop, that's usually about the time that my 10-minute timer will go off and I start tacking up. So I always start with boots if my horse is wearing boots, and then I will do the saddle. I will then put my own like helmet and gloves on, have a last snack, have a last drink, offer the horse the last drink, and then I will put the bit on last. For this particular vet gate, I had a 30-minute hold, so by the time I'd come out of the vet and had gone for a wee, me and Estrid gone for a wee, and that we'd both eaten, we didn't have that long until it was time to tack up again. So it is always worth putting a timer on because it's so easy for that time to fly and you'd be like, oh gosh, it's time to go, or you miss your time slot. And always consider how far away from where you are the timekeeper is, because you don't want to waste any of your precious riding time and bring down your riding time. So make sure you leave plenty of time to get to the timekeeper. Once you've got your timers going, so you know when you need to go back out, you've been for your wee, you've got all your pony stuff ready to go back out on the next loop, you can sit down and relax if you've got crew and if you're lucky enough to have crew like me. If not, get your water bottle, put a snack here. If you're wearing a bum bag, put some snacks in a water bottle, let your horse wander or eat and drink, whatever they prefer to do, and you are good to get through your first vet gate, hopefully. Let me know your tips and tricks, things that you like to do in vet gates, kind of the things you want to go through. From my experience and from working as a physio with professional athletes, the main thing isn't really how you do it. Obviously, yes, some better than others, but you know, whatever works for you. The main thing is that you have a routine and you go through that routine and it becomes automatic. That's the thing that makes everything feel like it runs quite smoothly, and that's what you want. You want a nice, calm, efficient, effective vet gate. So good luck, let me know your tips and tricks, and hopefully you'll have a good time in your first vet gate.